The night sky over Novaterra, Earth's farthest colony, sparkled with countless stars. In a small backyard, 8-year-old Tommy played happily. His joyful laughs filled the air as he tossed a glowing ball up and down. The ball changed colors each time it touched his hands. Tommy's parents, John and Maria, sat on their porch. They sipped hot coffee and enjoyed the cool evening breeze. 3 years ago, they had moved to Novaterra for a quieter life away from Earth's busy cities. "Tommy, it's getting late," Maria called out with a smile. "Just 5 more minutes, Mom," Tommy shouted back, his eyes fixed on the starry sky. Suddenly, a bright light appeared among the stars. It grew bigger and brighter with each passing second. Tommy's eyes widened in wonder. "Mom, Dad, look, a shooting star." John stood up quickly, spilling his coffee. His face turned white as he realized what he was seeing. "That's not a shooting star," he said in a low, worried voice. The light became a huge shape, blocking out the stars behind it. It was a spaceship, bigger than anything Tommy had ever seen. Its shiny metal surface gave off a cold, scary glow. "Get inside now," John yelled, running towards Tommy. But before John could reach his son, a beam of light shot down from the ship. It surrounded Tommy in an eerie glow. The boy's scream was cut short as he vanished into thin air. Maria's heartbroken cry pierced the night. "Tommy, no." The massive ship hung in the sky for a moment, then disappeared in a bright flash, leaving only shocked silence behind. News of what happened spread fast through Novaterra. Within hours, the colony's small spaceport was busy with official Earth ships arriving to investigate. Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force stepped off her shuttle. Her face was serious as she met Governor Liam O'Brien, the leader of Novaterra. "Admiral, thank you for coming so quickly," O'Brien said, shaking her hand. Chen nodded. "Tell me everything you know, Governor." As they walked to the command center, O'Brien explained what had happened. "It was last night. A ship appeared out of nowhere, took the boy, and vanished. We've never seen anything like it." Inside the command center, Chen looked at the blurry video caught by the colony's old sensors. She recognized the ship's design immediately. Her blood ran cold as she saw the marks of the Galactic Empire. "This is worse than we thought," Chen said quietly. O'Brien looked confused. "You know who did this?" Chen took a deep breath. "Governor, what I'm about to tell you is secret. Earth isn't alone in the galaxy. We've known about the Galactic Empire for years, but we've kept it quiet to avoid scaring people." O'Brien's mouth fell open in shock. "An alien empire, but why would they take a child?" "I don't know," Chen admitted, "but I'm going to find out." For the next few days, Chen and her team looked for clues. They talked to Tommy's sad parents and checked data from the colony sensors, but they couldn't find where the Empire's ship had gone. As time passed, the colonists became angry and scared. They wanted answers, protection, and justice for Tommy. 1 week later, Chen got a secret message from Earth Command. Her face darkened as she read it. "What is it?" O'Brien asked, noticing her expression. Chen looked up, her eyes filled with sadness and anger. "They found Tommy," she said softly. O'Brien leaned forward. "Where? Is he okay?" Chen shook her head slowly. "He's gone, Governor. The Empire, they killed him. Some kind of experiment went wrong." The news hit O'Brien hard. He fell back in his chair, trying to understand. How could they do this? He was just a little boy. Chen's voice was strong and determined when she replied. "I don't know, but I promise you this, Earth won't let this go. The Empire has no idea what they've just started." As Chen spoke, millions of miles away on Earth, alarm bells rang in government buildings all over the world. Leaders rushed to safe rooms, military commanders hurried to their posts, and a plan that had been just an idea suddenly became very real. The Galactic Empire had made a big mistake. They had woken up a sleeping giant, and Earth was about to show the galaxy why you should never, ever hurt a human child. The news of Tommy's abduction and death spread across Earth like wildfire. Within hours, every screen on the planet showed the same headline: Galactic Empire murders human child. People gathered in streets, homes, and public spaces, their faces a mix of shock, grief, and anger. In New York City, a massive crowd filled Times Square. They stared at the giant screens, watching as world leaders made urgent announcements. The U.S. president's face appeared, her expression grim. "My fellow citizens," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "Today, we face a threat unlike any in human history. The murder of young Tommy Walker has revealed a harsh truth. We are not alone in the universe, and we are not safe." As she spoke, images of Tommy and his grieving parents flashed on the screens. John and Maria Walker sat in their living room on Novaterra, watching the broadcast with tear-stained faces. "But we will not cower in fear," the president continued. "We will not let this act of cruelty go unpunished. Today, I am announcing the formation of a global defense force. Every nation on Earth will join together to protect our people and bring justice to those responsible." Around the world, similar scenes played out. In Beijing, Moscow, London, and countless other cities, leaders echoed the same message. Earth would stand united against this cosmic threat. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a top-secret facility, Earth's top military commanders and scientists gathered. They huddled around holographic displays, discussing strategies and technologies that had been theoretical just days ago. Admiral Sarah Chen, now appointed as the head of the Global Defense Force, addressed the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, we face an enemy with technology far beyond our own, but we have something they don't: the element of surprise." She waved her hand, and the hologram changed to show a sleek, menacing spaceship design. Project Dreadnought, a warship capable of taking on the entire Imperial fleet. And we're going to build not one, not 100, but 700,000 of them. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. A general spoke up, his voice skeptical. "Admiral, with all due respect, that's impossible. We don't have the resources or the time." Chen smiled, a glint of determination in her eyes. "That's where you're wrong, General. We've been preparing for this day for years. Hidden factories all over the world, stockpiles of rare materials, and technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien ships. We're ready." As the meeting continued, plans were set in motion. Across the globe, secret facilities hummed to life. In underground bunkers, beneath ocean floors, and inside hollowed-out mountains, construction began on the largest fleet in human history. Meanwhile, on Novaterra, John and Maria Walker stood before Admiral Chen. John's voice was firm despite his grief. "We want to help. We need to do something." Chen nodded, understanding in her eyes. "We have a special role for you both. You'll be the face of our cause, reminding everyone what we're fighting for." Maria clutched a photo of Tommy to her chest. "We'll do whatever it takes. For Tommy, and for every child who will never have to fear the Empire again." As days turned into weeks, Earth transformed. The entire planet became a war machine, united in a way it had never been before. Old conflicts were set aside, resources were pooled, and every person worked towards a single goal: preparing for the coming war. In orbit, the first of the massive dreadnoughts took shape. Its dark hull reflected the light of the sun, a silent promise of the retribution to come. On the Imperial capital world, light years away, Emperor Xalius VI sat on his crystal throne, unaware of the storm brewing on the little blue planet he had so carelessly wronged. His tentacles twitched with amusement as he read the humans' demands for justice. "These primitives dare to threaten us." He chuckled. "Let them come. The Empire has stood for millennia. What can one insignificant world do against our might?" Little did he know, Earth was about to show the galaxy exactly what one determined world could do. The stage was set for a conflict that would reshape the cosmos forever. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a secret facility known as the Forge, Earth's greatest minds gathered. Engineers, scientists, and military experts worked tirelessly, their faces lit by the glow of computer screens. The air hummed with energy and purpose. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the lead scientist of Project Vengeance, stood before a massive holographic display. It showed the schematics of a ship unlike any humanity had ever built. The Dreadnought Mark I, she announced to the room. Faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything the Galactic Empire has. Admiral Chen, who had been called back from Novaterra, stepped forward. How soon can we build it? Dr. Rodriguez smiled. That's the beauty of it, Admiral. We're not building just one. With a wave of her hand, the hologram expanded, showing not one, but hundreds, thousands, and then hundreds of thousands of ships. 700,000, Dr. Rodriguez said, her voice filled with pride. Each one capable of taking on an entire Imperial fleet. Admiral Chen's eyes widened. How is this possible? Dr. Rodriguez gestured to the busy workers around them. We've perfected nanoassembly. The ships build themselves, molecule by molecule. What would have taken years now takes days. In another part of the facility, John and Maria, Tommy's parents, stood before a sleek, black ship. Its hull gleamed under the bright lights, the name Tommy's Revenge painted in bold letters on its side. This one's for you, son, John whispered, touching the cold metal. Maria wiped a tear from her eye. He would have loved this. He always wanted to be a space explorer. Admiral Chen approached them. Mr. and Mrs. Walker, are you sure about this? You don't have to join the fight. John turned to the Admiral, his eyes burning with determination. With all due respect, Admiral, we do. For Tommy, and for every child who will never have to fear the Empire again. Across the globe, in shipyards hidden under oceans, buried in mountains, and concealed in dense jungles, the same scene played out. Massive dreadnoughts took shape at an incredible speed. Each ship was a marvel of human ingenuity, packed with technologies that had been theoretical just months ago. In orbit, the first completed dreadnoughts began to gather. Their sleek, dark hulls reflected the light of the sun, creating a dazzling display visible from Earth's surface. News of the fleet's construction had been kept top secret, but rumors began to spread. People looked up at the night sky, pointing at the new stars that seemed to move in formation. In the White House, the President of the United States stood before a panel of world leaders on a giant screen. The time has come, she said, her voice firm. We can no longer hide in the shadows of the galaxy. The murder of young Tommy Walker has shown us the true face of the Galactic Empire. She paused, looking at each leader in turn. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm informing you that in 24 hours, Earth will declare war on the Galactic Empire. Our fleet stands ready. The Chinese president leaned forward. Madam President, with respect, this is madness. We cannot hope to stand against an empire that spans the galaxy. The U.S. president smiled. Can't we? Take a look outside. As if on cue, the sky above every major city on Earth lit up. The dreadnoughts, hundreds of thousands of them, decloaked in perfect synchronization. Their massive forms blotted out the stars, a display of power that left the world leaders speechless. My God, the British Prime Minister whispered. This is no longer about one child, the U.S. President continued. This is about the future of humanity. We will not cower. We will not submit. We will show the galaxy that Earth is not to be trifled with. One by one, the world leaders nodded their agreement. In the forge, Admiral Chen watched as the last dreadnought rose from its assembly bay. She turned to Dr. Rodriguez. It's time. Send the signal. Dr. Rodriguez nodded and pressed a button on her console. Across the solar system, 700,000 dreadnoughts powered up their engines. The hunt for the Galactic Empire was about to begin. Earth was going to war, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the grand halls of the Galactic Empire's capital world, Zorn Prime, Emperor Xalius VI, sat on his crystal throne. His long purple tentacles twitched with annoyance as he listened to the report from his chief advisor, Grex. "Your Majesty," Grex said, his voice trembling slightly, "we've received another message from the humans. They demand justice for the child and threaten war if we don't comply." Emperor Xalius let out a booming laugh that echoed through the massive chamber. "War? Those primitive apes dare to threaten us with war." He waved one of his tentacles dismissively. "Send them our usual response. We do not negotiate with lesser species." Grex hesitated. "But, Your Majesty, our intelligence suggests they're building up their military. Perhaps we should take their threats more seriously." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Are you questioning my judgment, Grex? Need I remind you what happened to your predecessor?" Grex's skin turned a pale shade of green. "No, Your Majesty. Of course not. I'll send the message right away." As Grex scurried away, General Kraz, the head of the Imperial fleet, approached the throne. "Your Majesty, while I agree the humans pose no real threat, perhaps we should make an example of them, to discourage any future incidents." Emperor Xalius stroked his chin with a tentacle, considering the idea. "You may have a point, General. What do you propose?" "A small fleet to their home system should suffice," General Kraz said with a cruel smile. "We'll destroy their orbital defenses and bombard their major cities. That should teach them their place in the galaxy." The Emperor nodded. "Make it so, General. But don't waste too many resources. We have more important matters to attend to in the Andromeda sector." As General Kraz bowed and left to prepare the fleet, neither he nor the Emperor noticed the small cleaning droid in the corner of the room. Its red eye blinked twice before it quietly rolled away. Deep in the bowels of the Imperial Palace, in a hidden room filled with advanced communication equipment, the cleaning droid projected a hologram. The image showed a human woman with short gray hair and a determined expression. "Report, Agent X," the woman said. The droid spoke in a low human voice. "Director, it's as we feared. The Empire is dismissing Earth's threats. They're planning a punitive strike on our solar system." The woman's face hardened. "Size of the fleet? Small. They're not taking us seriously at all." A grim smile appeared on the director's face. "Good. That's exactly what we wanted. How long until they launch?" 3 standard days, according to General Kraz. The director nodded. "Excellent work. Agent X, stay hidden and keep monitoring. Earth out." As the hologram faded, Agent X transformed back into a cleaning droid and rolled out of the room, blending seamlessly with the other service robots in the palace. Back on Earth, in the underground command center of the Global Defense Force, the director turned to face a room full of military leaders from around the world. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, her voice firm, "Operation Trojan Horse is a success. The Empire has taken the bait. They think we're defenseless, and they're sending a small fleet to teach us a lesson." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "How many ships are we looking at, Director?" "According to our intel, no more than 50 capital ships, plus support vessels," the director replied. "They're treating this as a minor operation." Excited murmurs filled the room. Admiral Chen couldn't help but smile. 50 ships against our 700,000 dreadnoughts. This almost seems unfair. The director raised her hand for silence. "Let's not get cocky. Remember, this is just the first step. Once we crush this fleet, the real war begins. The Empire will finally realize what they're dealing with, and they'll come at us with everything they've got." She looked around the room, making eye contact with each person. "This is our one chance to catch them off guard. We must make it count. Humanity's future depends on it." As the meeting concluded and plans were set in motion, a sense of anticipation filled the air. In just 3 days, the first battle between Earth and the Galactic Empire would begin. and the overconfident Empire had no idea what was waiting for them. The vast emptiness of space near Jupiter's orbit suddenly came alive with activity. Thousands of massive ships appeared out of nowhere, their dark hulls reflecting the distant sunlight. Earth's fleet had arrived. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the flagship, humanity's hope. She looked out at the sea of dreadnoughts surrounding her ship, each one a testament to human determination and ingenuity. "Status report," she commanded. Her second-in-command, Captain Rodriguez, responded quickly. "All 700,000 ships accounted for, Admiral. Stealth systems functioning perfectly. The Empire's fleet hasn't detected us yet." Chen nodded, a grim smile on her face. "Good, now we wait." Hours passed. The tension on the bridge grew with each passing minute. Then suddenly, alarms blared. "Multiple hyperspace signatures detected," shouted the sensor officer. "Imperial ships incoming." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Show me." A holographic display lit up, showing 50 Imperial battleships emerging from hyperspace. They were massive vessels, each one easily dwarfing Earth's largest pre-war ships. But compared to the new human dreadnoughts, they looked almost small. "They really did underestimate us," Chen muttered. She raised her voice, addressing the entire fleet through the comms. "All ships, maintain stealth. Let them come to us." The Imperial fleet moved forward confidently, completely unaware of the trap they were flying into. Their formation was loose, clearly not expecting any resistance. On the lead Imperial ship, Admiral Zoc sneered at the blue planet in the distance. "Primitives," he scoffed. "They don't even have a proper orbital defense network." His second-in-command looked nervous. "Sir, don't you think it's strange? Our long-range scans show no signs of the military buildup that the humans threatened us with." Zox laughed. "Obviously a bluff. These humans are all talk. Prepare to launch fighters and begin bombardment of their major cities. Back on humanity's hope." Chen watched as the Imperial ships moved into attack position. She took a deep breath. "All ships, on my mark, decloak and power up weapons. Target the enemy's engines and weapons systems. We want to disable, not destroy." The bridge crew looked at her in surprise. Captain Rodriguez spoke up. "Admiral, with respect, why aren't we obliterating them? After what they did to Tommy." Chen's face softened for a moment. "I understand your anger, Captain, but we're better than them. We'll show the galaxy that humans can be powerful and merciful. Besides," her expression hardened again, "we need prisoners to interrogate." As the Imperial ships prepared to launch their first wave of attacks, Chen gave the order. "Now." In an instant, space around Jupiter lit up as 700,000 dreadnoughts shimmered into view. The Imperial fleet was suddenly surrounded on all sides by ships that dwarfed their own. On the Imperial flagship, Admiral Zox's jaw dropped. "Impossible," he whispered. Before he could give any orders, space erupted with weapons fire. Thousands of precision-guided energy beams struck the Imperial ships, targeting their vital systems with surgical accuracy. In less than a minute, it was over. The mighty Imperial fleet hung dead in space, their engines disabled and weapons systems fried. Not a single ship had been destroyed, but none were capable of fighting or fleeing. Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Launch boarding parties. Secure the enemy ships and take all personnel into custody." As human troops began boarding the disabled Imperial vessels, Chen opened a channel to Earth. "Command, this is Admiral Chen. Phase 1 is complete. The enemy fleet has been neutralized with 0 casualties on our side. Awaiting further orders." The response came quickly, filled with barely contained excitement. "Excellent work, Admiral. Secure the prisoners and prepare for Phase 2. It's time to take the fight to the Empire." As the human fleet began the process of securing their first victory, news of the battle spread across Earth. People celebrated in the streets, their fear of the alien threat replaced by pride and hope. But in the back of everyone's minds, a sobering thought remained. This was only the beginning. The real war was about to start, and the Galactic Empire would not underestimate humanity again. The Imperial Palace on Zorn Prime was in chaos. Emperor Xelius VI's tentacles writhed in fury as he listened to the report of the Earth fleet's victory. "How is this possible?" he roared. "Those primitive apes defeated our ships." General Kraz, his skin a sickly shade of green, stammered, Your Majesty, it appears the humans hid their true strength. They have technology we've never seen before." The Emperor's eyes narrowed dangerously. "You assured me they were no threat, General. Your failure has cost us dearly." Before Kraz could respond, alarms blared throughout the palace. A guard burst into the throne room, panic clear in his voice. "Your Majesty, human ships have been detected in multiple systems across the Empire." Meanwhile, in the Centauri system, a key Imperial stronghold, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of humanity's hope. Around her, thousands of Earth's dreadnoughts engaged the Imperial Defense Fleet. "Status report," Chen commanded. Captain Rodriguez replied, "Our forces are overwhelming their defenses." "Admiral, minimal damage to our fleet. The Empire clearly wasn't prepared for our level of technology." Chen nodded, her face grim. "Good. Remember, disable their ships when possible. We're here to end the war, not to massacre." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. Earth's massive fleet, split into several battle groups, struck at key Imperial targets simultaneously. The Empire, caught off guard by Earth's sudden show of force, struggled to mount an effective defense. On the planet Nebulon IV, a major Imperial shipyard, John and Maria piloted Tommy's Revenge at the head of a squadron of dreadnoughts. Their ships danced through enemy fire, disabling the orbital defenses with precision strikes. For Tommy, John whispered as he fired the main cannon, destroying a weapons platform that had been targeting Earth ships. Maria squeezed his hand. "He would be proud of us, John. We're making the galaxy safer for all children." Back on Earth, in the Global Defense Force headquarters, the director watched holographic displays of multiple battles unfolding across the galaxy. Her face showed a mix of pride and concern. "We've caught them by surprise," she murmured to her staff. "But the Empire is vast. They'll regroup soon. We need to press our advantage while we can." As if on cue, a communication officer called out, "Director, we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial capital. It's on all frequencies." The main screen lit up, showing Emperor Xelius VII. His usual regal bearing was gone, replaced by barely contained rage. "Humans of Earth," he snarled, his voice echoing across the stars. "Your unprovoked attack on the Galactic Empire will not stand. You have awakened a force beyond your comprehension. Surrender now, or face total annihilation." The director stepped forward, her voice calm but firm as she replied, "Emperor Xelius, this is not an unprovoked attack. You murdered an innocent child and dismissed our calls for justice. Now you face the consequences of your actions." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We do not seek the destruction of your people, but we will no longer tolerate the Empire's tyranny. Stand down your forces and prepare to negotiate, or we will dismantle your empire piece by piece." The Emperor's face contorted with fury. "You dare dictate terms to me? I will crush your pathetic planet and—" The director cut the transmission. She turned to her staff, her eyes blazing with determination. "You heard him. The Empire won't back down easily. Send word to all our forces. Operation Liberator is now in full effect." Across the galaxy, Earth's fleet received new orders. Their mission was clear: dismantle the Empire's ability to wage war, free oppressed worlds, and push towards the Imperial capital. As battles raged across thousands of star systems, the tide of the war began to turn. The once mighty Galactic Empire found itself on the defensive, struggling against an enemy they had gravely underestimated. For the first time in millennia, the Empire knew fear. And for countless oppressed species across the galaxy, a new emotion began to bloom: hope. The war for the galaxy had truly begun, and humanity was leading the charge. The skies of Zorn Prime, once peaceful, now blazed with the fire of battle. Earth's massive fleet surrounded the Imperial capital, their dreadnoughts casting long shadows over the glittering spires of the alien city. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of humanity's hope, her eyes fixed on the planet below. "Status report," she commanded. Captain Rodriguez responded quickly. "The Imperial defenses are crumbling, Admiral. Our ground forces have secured key positions across the planet. The palace is the last stronghold." Chen nodded, her face grim but determined. "And the Emperor?" "Still inside the palace, refusing to surrender." In the depths of the Imperial Palace, Emperor HFY raged at his remaining advisors. His once majestic throne room was now a chaotic command center, filled with panicked officials and the sounds of distant explosions. "How?" he screamed, his tentacles flailing wildly. "How did these humans defeat us?" General Kraz, one of the few who had survived the Emperor's wrath, spoke up hesitantly. "Your Majesty, perhaps it's time to consider their terms. The Empire is falling." "Never," Vzalius roared. "I am the Emperor. I will not bow to these primitives." Suddenly, the palace shook violently. A guard rushed in, his voice filled with fear. "Your Majesty, the humans have breached the outer defenses. They'll be here any moment." As if on cue, the massive doors to the throne room burst open. A team of human soldiers rushed in, led by John and Maria Walker. Their faces were hard, their eyes fixed on the alien emperor who had caused them so much pain. "Emperor HFY," John called out, his voice steady despite the emotion churning inside him. "In the name of Earth and all the peoples you've oppressed, you're under arrest." Vzalius looked at the humans in disbelief. Then, with a roar of defiance, he reached for a hidden weapon. But before he could use it, Maria fired her stun weapon. The Emperor collapsed in a heap of tentacles. As the human soldiers secured the room and took the Emperor into custody, John and Maria shared a look. "For Tommy," they whispered together. Hours later, on the steps of the Imperial Palace, Admiral Chen stood before a sea of cameras and reporters from across the galaxy. Behind her, the Earth flag flew alongside the flags of dozens of alien races who had joined the fight against the Empire. "Today," Chen began, her voice carrying across the planet, "and to countless worlds beyond, we mark the end of the Galactic Empire's reign of tyranny. But this is not just a victory for Earth. This is a victory for all free peoples of the galaxy." She paused, looking out at the diverse crowd gathered before her. "We did not start this war seeking conquest or domination. We fought to protect the innocent, to bring justice to those who thought themselves above it. And now we extend a hand of friendship to all who wish to join us in building a better, more just galaxy." As Chen spoke, scenes of celebration erupted across countless worlds. Species that had lived under the Empire's boot for generations now tasted freedom for the first time. On Earth, crowds filled the streets, cheering and waving flags. In the days that followed, representatives from hundreds of alien races gathered on Zorn Prime. Together with Earth's leaders, they began the monumental task of forming a new galactic government, one based on equality, justice, and mutual respect. The Galactic Republic was born, with Earth as a founding member, but not its ruler. Humanity had learned from the Empire's mistakes. They used their power not to dominate, but to uplift. In a quiet moment amidst the whirlwind of galactic politics, John and Maria Walker stood in a newly dedicated memorial garden on Zorn Prime. At its center stood a statue of a young boy reaching for the stars, a tribute to Tommy and all the innocent victims of the Empire. Maria wiped a tear from her eye. "We did it, Tommy," she whispered. "The galaxy is safe now." John put his arm around her. "And it's more wonderful than we ever imagined. I think he'd be proud." As they stood there, a group of alien children ran past, laughing and playing. One of them, a young Zornian, stopped and offered them a flower with his tentacle. John and Maria smiled, accepting the gift. In that moment, they knew that while the pain of their loss would never fully heal, the future they had fought for, a future of peace, understanding, and unity across the stars, was worth every sacrifice. The galaxy had been forever changed, and humanity's journey among the stars was only just beginning.